right. So it is Tuesday, February the 3rd. I'm Stephen Lewis. That's Mike Swift. It's a little thing
Ah,
called What's on Your Mind. And before we get into what's on your mind, can I say something that's on my mind?
I mean, that's what you're here for.
You're going to call me an asshole, and I kind of am because
Well,
I have no right to this, but we got a foot of snow being realistic since last week, right? This all happened last Monday. I have to park on the street because I have a landlord that has promised me a garage. Yet a year later,
oh my God.
that garage is still not functional because he has so much garbage in it and crap that he
Oh,
has to pull
wow.
out of it. Mind you, I'm not being charged for said garage, but
Okay.
I would be okay with paying for said garage because I really want the garage.
Hmm.
So that being said, I had to park on the street in front of my building. We got a foot of snow. So we got a foot of snow on Sunday. Monday afternoon, when I realized there weren't going to be any plow trucks coming by, I shoveled out my car and got myself an empty parking spot. Only to Tuesday morning have the snow shoveled back on top of it. So, mind you, all week I have shoveled. Now, there's nothing in between. Like my neighbor had someone professionally come out and shovel her spot. And when that's been open, I've never touched it because I understood she paid somebody to come out and shovel that for her so she could get in and out. So there's her spot. There's like two spots worth of a foot of snow that nobody shoveled yet. Then there's the spot that I shoveled. Some a-hole pulled into my spot yesterday and has been there ever since. And it pisses me off because I'm like, I didn't spend an hour and a half on 2 different days shoveling that spot for your lazy ass to park there. I'm like, I don't care if you, and I know it's not my place because I am parking on a public street, but I don't care if you have to walk a quarter of a mile to get to your stuff. I shoveled a goddamn spot. Don't park there. And you know it because if you live there, then you've seen my car there all week. So you know. I want to leave a note on the car. Want to leave a note on the car that says, "Hey, asshole, I didn't shovel this spot for you to park here." Anyway, that's not what's really on my mind. Normally, we would do a little different where what would be on my mind, what would be on Mike's mind. But last week, we had a kind of interesting conversation that started because of the temperature of things, basically in the world right now, our country right now. And I hate getting political, but it doesn't look like it has calmed down a lot in the last week, I would think. I mean, you've had a lot of other things going on. And it's just kind of a weird, it's still kind of a weird time. And I told you Friday night, I was on my way. This kind of steamrolls into where we were going. Friday night, I was on my way to my friend's house because he plays music, and him and his friend, our other friend, were just going to get together. They were going to Facebook Live and play some music, and he's like, "You should come down." And I'm like, "Okay." When my Jeff is who I stayed with for a while last year, so I was like, "Yeah, it'd be great to see you guys again." On the way down there, mind you, this is like kind of back roadish to get to his house. On the way down there, there was a van that looks like an Amazon van, but it looked like when Amazon doesn't have any more of their own logoed vans, they rent it was one of
Right.
those type of vans. There was the van, a car behind the van, and then me. Mind you, this van in a 55 is going about 30. So the guy in front of me is starting to get irritated, and rightfully so. So when
Hmm.
the line in the street breaks to the broken yellow line and the guy can pass, the guy starts to go around. Well, the driver in the van swerves into the opposite lane to block him from passing. And I was going to pass too. This goes on and on for about a mile. Once the guy gets back into his lane and both all of us are in the one lane, then the Amazon driver or the van driver starts brake checking everybody and slowing down even more. And at this point in time, I'm like, you're just an a-hole. When we finally get to a traffic light, and after the guy tried to pass him again, the guy swerved in the lane again and wouldn't let him pass him again. So the guy at this point has reached his quote unquote boiling point. So he gets out of the car and starts to walk up to the
Oh,
Amazon van.
wow.
And all I heard was a loud pop where
No way.
Swear to God, the guy fires a gun, and I saw the spark hit the road. So he shot it as the guy was walking up, but he shot it at the road. And
So the Amazon guy driver shot?
I don't know if it was an Amazon driver or not, but whoever was driving the van fires a shot back at the car in the road. And I was like, dude, I'm going to watch this guy get shot right in front of me. I couldn't hear what the driver that shot yelled back to the other guy, but I saw the guy in front of him hit the side of the van. And he said, stop driving like an asshole, and got in the car. And then the van went the other way. And then I was thankfully turning in a different direction. But isn't that messed up? Like, that's the world we live in right now.
That's
So
crazy.
you're in the van, you're being the a-hole, you piss somebody off, and because you piss them off, now you're going to shoot at them because your conduct is what put them in a state of anger.
That's just craziness. I can't even wrap my head around that.
Right? It's messed up.
But again, you just don't know what people.
Anyway, so while we discuss the temperature and everything in the world and random play going on everywhere, you brought a guest on with us tonight, so I will allow you to make the introductions. I mean, I won't allow you; it's your show.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, yes. So yeah, after the conversation,
and while she's talking, run the Starbucks and get me a latte, will you?
What an ass. What an ass. Okay, well, yes. After our conversation last week, after the episode aired, Ange was wonderful enough to reach out. Ange, for those, just to kind of set the table for those listening and watching, Ange worked with us previously in the business, in the radio business, years and years and years ago, but went a different path and is now working in the field of law enforcement.
He's already smarter.
Much smarter than the both of us. Now, Ange, let me make sure I'm getting this right. You are a PP2?
Correct.
So that would be a parole probation officer 2.
Yes.
We're going to just keep your location private, which we've also selected to keep your camera off for the episode.
Right.
But first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for the service that you do for your community. I definitely want to put that out there. There are a lot of men and women who decide to uphold the law in our country, and there are some who do it the right way. And I always want to tip my cap and show appreciation for those that do it and do it the right way.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, with that said, Ange, if you could, maybe from a law enforcement standpoint, can you give me your take on the temperature of things from your point of view?
Yes. So I think that, I guess, okay, first of all, as law enforcement, I've been doing this a hot minute. I guess I'll go a little bit into my background. I started in corrections. And so I didn't work the jails. I actually worked men's prisons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I have been inside the penal facility for over 10 years. And then once I got out of the penal facility, I transferred over to parole and probation. I started just as a regular officer. I have been on every single caseload you can think of. I have been on sex crimes unit. I have been drug and alcohol. I've been a gang task force officer. And currently, right now, I am something called Interstate Compact. So it's anybody coming into our state.
Okay.
So that's currently kind of what I do. But the climate is very, very tense. I mean, it's almost it's so tense it actually caused me family problems, like I was telling you about the other day.
Yeah, do you mind touching on that?
Yeah, no, we'll get into that. So, you know, I have family back home up north, and you know, they're very proud of what I do. They don't understand what I do, but they're proud of it, you know, which is kind of funny. But so I was having this discussion with my mother, you know, and my mother is very one-sided when it comes to politics, which is fine. I respect everybody's opinion, you know.
Mhm.
But she got into the whole conversation about the woman that had gotten shot in the vehicle, when they were, they were protesting ICE, and that I guess her wife had gotten into the police officer's face, and then the police officer was hit or bumped with the vehicle, and then she got shot. So I was trying to tell my mom, like, mom, like, you have to understand there's something called police procedure and protocol. Okay. So when you are in a tense situation and it escalates to the point where you discharge your weapon, like even just taking it out of the holster, there's protocol. You can't back down from that. You can always reholster your weapon and walk away. That's a choice. I mean, there's still paperwork and consequences that come with that, but you have a duty to
Okay.
act at that point, right? Like, you can't just let the situation just happen. So I was telling my mom, I was like, okay, you have to understand, if I was standing in front of this vehicle, and how we're trained at the police academy, I don't know that she's going to, not floor it, right? But I'm definitely not going to assume that she's not going to. So
Okay.
at that point, I would have taken the shot. I know that's a very, very controversial thing, but the thing is that you have to understand, it's all about perception. I don't know what's in that person's head, and I'm not going to stick around to assume to find out, right?
That's fair.
And so my mom just got totally upset, and she's like, she didn't deserve to die. And I was like, I'm not saying she did, but what I'm saying is that procedure dictates we meet force with force. You come at me with a 10-ton vehicle, I'm not going to take any chances that you're just going to stop.
No, but I think the question becomes, it's the equal force law, which is,
Yes.
if you come at me with force, I can use equal force that I feel is necessary to stop you from doing what you're doing. And I think the problem is, I make a better case against Renee Good than I do the other one, for the sole reason that, whether she was trying to pull her way or not, she did drive towards the officer. There's
Correct.
also the argument that every cop knows you don't get in front of the car. Like,
I'm
why that guy was in front of the car, it goes back to what I was saying last week. None of these Call of Duty wannabe guys are fully trained the way they should be, and that's blatantly obvious by what's going on right now.
right. And I was having this conversation with her, and I was like, now look, did the officer handle it appropriately? In my opinion, I would have went a different route, right? But kind of like, once you're there in front of that
Yeah.
vehicle, I'm not going to play chicken with the vehicle. I'm just
Sure,
not, you know.
Right.
And
sure.
and so
And the other question is, though, did you need to fire 3 shots into the cab of the vehicle to get that to stop? Could you have shot the tire? Could you have shot the hood of the vehicle? Could you have fired a shot into the passenger side of the glass? Like, there was different methods that I think that could have been used.
there are, however, policy dictates, like when you're at the police academy, you're not trying to kill, you're trying to neutralize the threat. So whatever amount of force you're using is used to neutralize the threat. And you're right, there are other avenues he could have went, right? But is that going to stop her from flooring it?
And again, that's the question you don't necessarily know. Like I said, I think,
It's a snap judgment thing.
yeah,
Right.
in her case, I think you can make a argument that there was some aggression for her side.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and
Mhm.
like, let me just be clear. I don't think that these individuals that go to these rallies and stuff, I don't think they're necessarily, I think what they're going for is they're there to get a reaction, right?
Mhm.
And they're angry, and then when you put angry people with more angry people, right, then the temperature kind of heats up a little bit more. And the first thing you're taught as a good officer, they call it verbal judo, right? Like, that's your first line of defense, is your mouth. And I think that, and I'm not saying all, but I'm thinking that some officers forget that skill. You're not supposed to react to somebody yelling at you. You're supposed to be able to hold yourself and take it. You know what I mean?
Sure. I was talking to my friend
Yeah.
Jeff Friday night, same one I was on the way to see when the random gunplay broke out on the roadway. I was talking to him Friday night, and he brought up a point, and I actually went to fact check it. This problem with the immigration enforcement is handled much cleaner in cities where the police are cooperating with them.
Well, and that's part of the problem is that so I live in a very southern state. The area that I live in is a very high crime area, right? So temperatures are already heated about other situations here. And I can't, there are times where I see the police are not willing to cooperate with them, right? And it just kind of fuels the fire a little bit. I think that everybody has to be on the same page in order for this to effectively work. So I agree with you.
I'm not sure, and we talked about this a little bit last week. I think part of the other problem is they're federal agents, but I don't think people, and maybe even law enforcement too, view them that way, because you have seen instances where law enforcement is just as frustrated with these guys as some of the people are.
So the interesting thing about them being ICE agents and being federal agents, they actually train where all the Border Patrol trains at, which is similar to Quantico, right? It's called FLEXI, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. So for all intents purposes, they are law enforcement and they do know the rules. And they're actually trained harder and more than just a regular officer. So
Sure.
it kind of blows me away sometimes when I see some of them escalating things when it maybe not necessarily needed to be escalated, right?
Well, I think we touched on it a little bit loud. There's a difference between Border Patrol and crowd control.
Absolutely.
And it's two very different skill sets and two very different sets of rules that apply to one. And I think that there are peaceful protesters. I think there are always people, whether it's a right-wing protest or a left-wing protest, I think you're always going to find that there are people who are paid to antagonize there.
Absolutely.
Because it's just the world we live in now, and everybody wants clicks on their social media or whatever. And I think that's part of that's part of what's funding some of the stuff. But I also think there are legitimate things that are happening that probably shouldn't have. The Alex Preddy case was ruled a homicide. I mean, you could watch that, and I don't understand from whatever angle you want, whether this guy kicked in a whole line of traffic cars' headlights the night before. There's no way you can justify 10 shots into the back of a guy that you threw down.
I think that was excessive, personally. I mean, personally.
And I saw somebody try to defend it and go, well, they couldn't get control of his body. And I'm like, but you sprayed him in the face with pepper spray first. If you've ever had that sprayed into your face
several times,
it's not fun. Like I mean, I've had it gone off in bars when I was DJing before. Like, it gets into your throat, it gets into your eyes, it's not a pleasant experience. I think I would rather be tased than deal with a face full of pepper spray.
So interestingly enough, I actually am non-reactive to pepper spray. It doesn't do anything to me at all.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. I've been sprayed more than 42 different times, seriously. And it does nothing. I don't cough, I don't choke, my eyes don't even water, I can't smell it, I can't taste it. There are people out there that,
it's the
that's
best
a real
thing in
thing.
the world. I would get pepper sprayed and then just look at that person and just give the worst, most ferocious flex I could come up with. Just
just
for the sake.
I laughed at my staff sergeant when he sprayed it in my face, and then I got it again right in the eyes, and he's like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
It's awesome.
I had it happen to me twice. Once I wasn't even near the actual spraying of the pepper spray. I was probably 50 yards across the room, and I'm like, why is my throat burning? Why are my eyes burning? And then I figured out what it was. And then the next time it happened, I was in a crowd, and there was an incident in the crowd, and I was within probably 3 feet of where it was sprayed at, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like,
yeah,
this is miserable.
So inside the prison, I was actually on CIT, which is like that's the SWAT team for the prison, and
Mhm.
they would always send me in first to do the flashbangs and stuff because I'm non-reactive, and they'd be like, I don't know how you. I even had like a bear can, and I'd be like just giving it to somebody, and nothing happens. There are people that are non-reactive.
Wow.
It's a superhuman power. I'm convinced.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Ange, I have to ask, have you worked directly with ICE?
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
have.
Now, have you seen instances, if I may ask, where you're kind of looking at that particular individual and going, "What the hell are you doing?" Or are you seeing? I guess what I'm really trying to get at is does there seem to be more of a consistency with procedure and how that translates from the training with ICE agents that
So
you've dealt with?
it's interesting that you say that. I actually just got involved in an incident, and I was off duty. I was driving by, and of course we have that duty to act. And I saw a
Mhm.
man laying in front of a bus, and I like the MTA buses, right? And he's on the ground and he's bloody. So I'm like, oh
Oh,
crap. Yeah. So I turn around, I whip my car around, and he seems to be inebriated of some sorts. And I mean, he's just got blood everywhere. He's yelling and he's like, I'm not getting off the ground until the police come. And I'm like, okay, well, we're here. I'm like, so what is going on? Well, apparently, he was on the bus and him and somebody else got into a verbal altercation. And he effed around and found out, and the guy just let him have it, you know?
mhm.
Well, as I'm sitting there waiting for the ambulance and waiting for other people to come because this guy's threatening the bus driver, um, an ICE agent pulls up.
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, totally unnecessary, but like, what? Why are you here? But because I mean, like you're not city, so I don't really understand the reasoning here. But
mhm.
it was like instantly he wanted to take charge of the scene, right? And that's not necessarily protocol. I was the first to arrive. Like I had the crowd under control. People had cell phones out. It was a whole thing, and then I ended up talking to the supervisor that he was riding with. And I was like, we've kind of got this. We've got Metro over here. They're working it. If he can offer something of substance, then perfect. But other than that, like you're just kind of getting involved for like no reason. And
Mhm.
that's not the first instance that's happened to me.
Hmm.
There have been others. Like I've went to serve a no knock warrant, and that's when I don't have to knock to enter the
Right.
premises. I just go. And I
Mhm.
went to go serve a no knock warrant, and he was like, I'll get the door. And I'm like, no, you won't. I'm like, I'm here, like I'm here with my partner. Like we got this. Like this isn't an international situation here. This is more just we have somebody who didn't show up for court and has refused treatment and is now absconded. So like we got this.
Well,
So
Interesting.
yeah, that's really interesting.
yeah, they like to take over.
Mhm.
I think that's where part of the problem comes in, and I think again, it's the right. I've always been a believer: hire the right person to do the right job, and
Right.
Mhm.
I don't think, and I think that there are cops that are really good cops,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think there are also cases of guys who I was bullied all the time in high school, and now I have a badge. So guess what?
And
Like,
you say that, and that's a true statement. That is an
Mhm.
absolute true statement.
Absolutely.
yeah,
You
I
know,
know a cop like
I
that.
know a
I
cop. I
know
was
a
gonna
cop.
say I know a
And
cop.
he was bullied. I knew him. I knew him throughout my childhood. He was bullied a lot. And when he got to high school, he was picked on even more. And the choice, the field of choice that he went with once he graduated was police officer. And he was known to be one of those jerkhole. Comes out of your pores in those situations a lot.
Well,
so
and I
I
go ahead,
go
Ann,
ahead.
sorry. No, you
Oh,
first.
Oh, I was going to say, so the new direction of policing, you know, because I've been with this new department, you know, here since I've moved. The new direction of policing and hiring is the old school way, right? They're trying to get away from that, and they're trying to do more community policing. You know, they're trying to fix the image because the problem is that that's not where we're at anymore. That's not where the department is headed. That actually gives us a bad name,
Sure.
you know. So we're trying to, you know, retire those people out and hire younger, more, you know, open-minded individuals.
Well,
Because that,
That's
and I don't know if you remember this or not, Mike. You may or may not. I remember the girl I was dating at the time had ankle surgery. So she had crutches and she had a handicap sticker to park in her car. And we went to, I think it was Bed Bath and Beyond when Bed Bath and Beyond was still a thing. And she got a ticket from a police officer when she parked in the handicap spot because he told her she wasn't handicapped enough to park there and gave her a ticket. So, needless to say, the following Monday morning, I basted this guy on the air. I mean, straight up did not hold back. I'm like, and got a call from the chief of police that said, yeah, he's been a problem for a while. Just bring that ticket down. We'll take care of it for you or whatever. But I'm like, not handicapped enough. I'm like,
Yeah.
that phrase just does not, that doesn't even make sense to me. You either
no.
are or you are not.
and I, because
You
I
know?
remember I was like, when I had my knee surgery, I was like, oh, I got a handicap pass. And I had like the best seats you could possibly have for a Billy Joel Elton John show. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, I'm going to use my handicap parking spot at a concert venue. Then we got there and I realized it's a Billy Joel Elton John show. Every senior citizen for 150 miles has already taken the handicap parking spots.
So interestingly enough with that, I actually have a disabled veterans license plate, so I can park in any handicap spot anywhere, right? And the looks that I get, if I choose to park in a handicap spot, well, I have that because my husband is a disabled veteran. And my husband has served, you know, 2 tours in Iraq. He's lost a kidney, like he, you know, and he works, like he is a full-time officer himself as well. And you should see the looks that people give us. They're just like, oh, how dare they park in that spot? Well, you know, my husband kind of earned that right. Like, you know, like you don't know what's going on with somebody, you know, based off appearance. Like you can't be like, well, you're not handicapped enough. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You're not a doctor. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I just,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say a big thanks to your husband for serving this country as well.
Well, and the funny thing is like anytime you tell him that, he'll laugh at you and he's like, yeah, I just sat around a lot, you know. But I mean, that's his
Still
go-to
time
line.
served.
Yeah, he's
Still
like,
time served.
he's like, thanks for that, you know. But
I mean, I can relate. I almost lost a kidney once, but I think that was due to alcohol. So.
Wow.
But I mean, you know, going back to the officer thing, you know, I want to like touch on this, and this is such a controversial topic, but everybody's like ACAB, 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 ACAB. Cops are bad. Cops are not the problem. Okay. If you go to a doctor, you'll hear 10 reviews about how that doctor was so horrible. You go to a nurse, you go to the nurse's station, you hear about the worst one there. Okay, yes, there's bad people in every single profession.
Sure.
Okay, but like, what about the good ones? We don't talk about that.
No,
right? But that's human nature, though. That's human nature. That's coming from someone who just literally worked customer service. Like everybody wants to complain about the bad stuff.
Oh, because negativity gets more likes than positivity does. That's just
right. But that's just the way that humans seem to gravitate towards, just in general, as a whole. Like as long as I worked customer service for Medicaid for almost 3 years. And in those 3 years, I got one phone call of someone going, "Oh my God, this is so great. Your service is so great. This has been such a wonderful thing for me." Every call, every single call was a complaint or angry, someone being angry. But
Well,
that's customer service.
that's why I hate if you ever look at reviews, I always look at how many reviews are in close proximity, because we live in a world now where you can go to a restaurant, you can have the best dinner you've ever had in your life, and you will not say a word about it. But if you go to the same restaurant and your server doesn't fill your drink fast enough, or your food came out not right, or something was cold, or somebody else annoyed you or whatever, you will go online and you will butcher that
Yep.
place until you can't butcher it anymore. And
Right.
it's just how it is. But I think the problem is, I think it's the training and the method that goes about things. Because honestly, people don't want to hear this, especially if you're a far right winger. President Obama deported more people than any of the previous two administrations have.
Exactly.
And they did,
That's
but
true.
the difference is the method in which
They did it quietly.
and I think that's
Right.
the problem. I think you have a lack of training where some of these guys are concerned. And I'm not saying that like I could do a better job. I don't know the first thing about how to be a police officer in a crowd control or a border patrol situation. So I'm not saying that. But I don't know if you guys caught the video this weekend. There was a woman who was driving around and she was recording an ICE group that were driving around, and they rushed out, made her pull over. So she called 911 and
Mhm.
asked the police to come help her out, because these three guys, even though all she had in her hand was recording on a phone, there's video of this, go watch it, got out of the car like fully guns pulled on her the entire time. And I'm like, we're jumping the gun just a little bit there, aren't we? And they were like, get out of your car. And they drug her out of the car. And then the police finally showed up and went, hey, we'll handle this, kind of thing. But
Right.
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that goes back to what I was saying. They like to just take over the scene, but you have to be a strong enough officer. And again, it goes back to that verbal judo. You got to be a strong officer and be like, no, this is what's happening. I've been here since the beginning. You need to go. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people are intimidated and just don't do that. They're like, oh, okay, well, your bulletproof vest says ice. I guess I'm going to listen to you, right?
Yeah.
I,
Well, and I think too, it's just the social media driven world we live in has given people a license to be what they want to be without any regard to consequences. You know what I mean?
right.
If you're a if you're a closet racist, well, now you can find more closet racists anywhere you go across the country. Or if you are a closet, diehard, bleeding heart liberal, where, if you have 50 cents in your pocket, you should give 25 of it away. You have a like-minded audience that you can find out there too. And I think that's the danger of it. I think we live in a society where there's a lot of different cults, and now you can essentially pick whichever cult you want to be a part of.
Yeah, and I think the scariest thing about policing nowadays is everybody is an expert, right? Everybody knows everything because they've seen it on
Right.
YouTube, or they have somebody's like out there with their little iPhone taking a video of you. There's all these experts, right? But at the end of the day, like, you don't have the proper training, like you're trying to be Batman, and and
Right.
you've got a like a basically a towel for a cape. Like, you guys are being ridiculous. Like, come on, but these people that come out there and they just video everything, and they're like, well, I seen it, so it's got to be true. But what you saw was one angle. You didn't see what happened before, or you didn't see what happened after. There's a lot of master editors to spin narratives too, right?
100%. That's why I wouldn't necessarily want to be a cop right now, because you're under a tremendous amount of scrutiny, even if you're doing something as routine as a traffic stop or whatever. You never know. Everybody's going to pop out their phone and, record it. So if the cop slips, you can.
There is that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's scary that we live in, but it is interesting to see it from the law enforcement perspective side. I don't think you should hate cops. I really don't. I just think not all cops are bad and not all people are criminals. That's just
right. And even the people that are criminals, like I will say this, okay, coming from the penitentiary, coming from parole probation, even criminals, like there's a lot of people out there that just are trying to make it, but they don't necessarily have the tools, right? Whether that's the support at home, whether that's they know that help is out there, but they just can't get to it. Maybe they don't have a car, so they can't go to the AANA treatments. There's a lot of people that get caught up in this big cog, and law enforcement's big business.
Yep, for sure.
So I used to work at a high end market here in the area, and there was a situation where management caught a shoplifter. It's a kid who stole a bag of chips, and I remember to kind of set the table, the manager was younger than I was. He was half my age. He was a young kid. And the other, I can't remember, there was another second manager about the same age as the other manager. And they were just pumped up and chest all out that they caught this shoplifter and blah, blah, blah. And the more senior of the two managers saw, did you see I caught that kid that stole a bag of chips? What an idiot. Who would steal a bag of chips? I stopped and I went, do you know maybe his situation, that what maybe brought him to want to steal that bag of chips? Do you know maybe possibly whether or not that maybe he hasn't had anything to eat quite a bit of time? Maybe that bag of chips sounded good to him because it was the only thing of substance close to him at that point in time. It's like, you've got to understand people's situations. Not everybody commits crimes or does just anything, for that matter, just because they want the thrill of stealing something, or they think they're being a badass, or there are good people in this world that are cornered into doing bad things.
And the thing is that there are career criminals. Like, let's not negate that. There are career criminals.
The other side of that coin, you are absolutely right.
There are two instances for that. One, I was at a point in time, I got to when I was in college, and this is sad to admit, but I'll admit it. There is the idea of, can you steal something and get away with it? And I say that because
you're right.
I used to steal the dumbest stuff, and I'm not so dumb. Like, I had I did not agree with the fact that turkey pepperoni cost more than regular pepperoni. I thought they should be the same price. So I would steal.
Amen.
I would steal turkey pepperoni from Kroger originally, to the point where my roommate was like, "Did the great turkey pepperoni bandit strike again today?" Yes, he did. So again, not proud of it, but I did. But I also remember, same girl I used to date that her wasn't handicapped enough. We were in Novi, which, if you don't know where Novi is, it's outside of Detroit. We were in Novi visiting her family, and this was circa 2008-ish, when the world was poor because everything was so bad. We watched a guy steal gas, and I could see it in his eye when he drove away. Like, he had he didn't want to steal gas. He was just probably sitting there going, I got to make a choice. I got to get to work. I don't have enough money to put gas in my car, but I got to do whatever. And you make that choice. So I think there are people out there, like you were kind of alluding to, Mike, that you're doing a bad thing because it's the only option you have. It's not necessarily, in your mind and your heart and whatever, that you're not doing the right thing, but you're going to do it anyway, which is why I judge criminals. I have friends of mine that have committed crimes, and I'm just like, did you hurt anybody other than yourself? No? okay, then I'm not going to hang you out to dry for 25 years of your life because you did something stupid once. Like if you did something where you hurt someone, okay, well, maybe that's a different discussion we have. But if you just did something where, it wrecked your life and you paid the price for it, then who am I to hang you across forever?
Lesson learned. Yeah. Hopefully lesson learned. Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, Ange, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with us. That is so wonderful to get a outside aspect from everything that's going on right now in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and I really appreciate your opinion.
Hey, no problem.
oh, totally do. And you know that there is one day a month wherever you are, if someone off the street asks you if they can see your firearm, you have to show them, and they're allowed to fire a couple of shots into the air as long as.
Listen, that's too much paperwork for me. I'll pass.
I'm kidding. Don't do that. Actually, no, do that and film that because I want to see the outcome.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you know.
An officer at blah 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 state was
I was
dismissed.
watching this podcast and they said that I could ask for your gun and shoot it. That's what
Oh my God.
Wasn't that super bad?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super bad. Yeah.
I don't believe everything you see on the internet. Ange, thanks again for taking the time. Mike, always good as always. We'll do this again next week. You can find it on the socials. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Like, follow, comment. If you ever want to join us, just let us know. You probably
reach out. It's that easy.
It's not hard to find people more intelligent than we are.
Hey.